Self-Destruct sequence activated.
Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Self-Destruct Sequence podcast. Today is August 27th, and this is episode number 31. I am Ron Clee. Morphod is out this week. He's got a lot of things going on with school, so unfortunately he's not able to make it this week. So it should be semi-short episode, but we do have a lot of good stuff for you, starting with Descent Underground. And of course, Descent Underground, ever since they got their bug fix, they've been releasing a whole bunch of new things, and this latest one, build 2506, which is available now for the underground people, they can go and test the new weapon rebalance. And weapon rebalance is pretty important because I think what this does is that this drives home the point that this is what sets the Descent franchise apart. And one of the main things that they're doing with the energy weapons is slowing them down. That's the plasma, the fusion, and the lasers all got slowed down in this patch. And that's a big deal. A lot of the big chess matches, so to speak, that you have in Descent are made because the weapons go slower than in most standard first-person shooters. So very good that they're doing that. They've also made them consume less energy as well. Especially, say, the plasma was a big pain point with Descent Underground. You'd be out of energy in like 20 seconds flat. It's really quick. Then they've changed that so that they're now consuming less energy, and I'm being told to get on Skype. Maybe Morphod isn't. Oh. Maybe Morphod isn't busy. Let's find out. Every piece of software decided it needed to be updated right now. Lovely. Let's see if Mr. Morphod is here. Do we have a Morphod?
Yes.
We have a Morphod.
Oh, dear heavens. Are you live?
I am alive.
You are alive, but are you live?
I am live. Do we have
Johnny Five alive?
do we have a Mr. Jimmy Russell's is the question.
We do not have a Jimmy Russell's today, but given the aggravation I have, I wouldn't be surprised if he pops out a little bit.
Little technical difficulties today. I was just explaining the Descent Underground new build having the recent weapon rebalance with the energy weapons traveling slower. It kind of gives the more original Descent feel, and the plasma also doesn't get used up when you use it for like 10 seconds.
I see.
Uses less energy. Another one of the big complaints, of course, is the Vulcan, how slow it traveled. They've upped the travel rate of the Vulcan, made it consume more ammunition, and made it do more damage. So big buffs to the Vulcan, and I know a lot of people, I think Zero was one of the pilots that really was upset about how the Vulcan works, and this should help. It looks a lot better. So glad to see you here.
I'm glad to be here.
Excellent.
Again, my sincere apologies to,
no worries.
to you and our listeners. But I was putting together the stats for my part of the show later on. I'm sorry you didn't get to enjoy my my lovely greetings, and I am here with a few guests, but I don't have a good enough internet connection to show you who they are. Some cats have invaded my room.
Some cats.
Yes, the roommate's cats.
And you can't put it up. We can't have cats on the internet? What is this?
Well, it's more about they won't fit through the internet.
Oh.
Not with my fat face in the way. Anyway, yes. So you had Descent Underground news. Sounds like they're tuning some of the weapons there in both positive and negative fashions. Do continue, please.
I'd say they're both positive fashions. Just that one of them can be considered a nerf. But anyway, they also have added a rear view, so you can now hit your rear view key. But it does something weird. So if you
Wh-
just
how do you do something weird with a rear view? This is pretty obnoxious to screw up.
and they managed it. So if you tap the key, it turns on rear view and it stays on. If you tap it again, it turns off. Fair enough, right?
Okay.
If you hold the button down and then release it, it stays on until you release it.
So, based on input, it toggles or it switches.
The, Based on how long the key is down for. And it sounds
Nothing bad can come of this.
nothing at all, considering that, whenever I use rear view, it's mostly tapping. Just to see very briefly behind me. I don't want that screen to stay up. I don't want to have to tap the key twice, The scoreboard's going to work the same way. Kind of makes more sense for the scoreboard, I would think. But the rear view is a different animal altogether. Hopefully, I mean, this is just me. Maybe some people like it this way. But being used to Descent and anything else that has a rear view, I'm not sure that's a great idea to do it like that. So, I don't know. We'll see.
It's a triple A title from a crowdsourced budget. Is that what they were calling it?
That's what they would
Well,
like
it comes
to believe.
along with some triple A screw ups, if you ask me.
Yeah, because AAA games are perfect and nothing's wrong with them, ever. Yes, that's my voice dripping with sarcasm. Moving on.
Well, yeah.
Something interesting that they've added is previously all you would see is a name on the ship, and it would be colored whatever color their team is, or if it's just an anarchy game, whatever their assigned ship color is. For team games, though, they have now added these icons, and there's I think it's a green. I don't know if it's a circle or a triangle, but they use one or the other to let you know if it's a friendly ship or an enemy ship. There is an option to change how the colors work. I believe the default is green is your team, red is the other team. The option you can change it to is make it the color of the team. I imagine this is largely for Wingman, who apparently has a huge problem shooting his own team. He does it all the time. But I mean, I actually am not sure about this, because remembering the Descent 3 team community, a lot of people played with names completely off. You couldn't see who you were shooting at. You would only know who it was by maybe what ship they're flying, maybe their flying style, and of course when you killed them or they killed you. But otherwise, you didn't know who you were fighting. And having the indicator to very quickly see, oh yes, you should shoot over here. Well, one of the things, of course, with Descent is being able to kind of sneak around. And sometimes you can get away with doing that in plain sight in certain maps. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I think with if you go with the fantasy of the game, it would make sense to have them because hey, your computer sees a ship over here, it's going to put a dot on your screen. So I mean, it kind of makes sense for that. But as far as the actual gameplay, we'll also have to see how it works. Descent Underground does feel a little different than the previous Descents. But I don't know. What do you think?
I would. You're talking about the fantasy of the game, and it makes sense that at that time that there would be, given our current tech level, why on earth in this future environment would there be, wouldn't there be a computer that's able to home in on an energy signature or anything like that? Mm-hmm. To which I would suggest that at that time there's probably plenty of opportunity for electronic warfare on some level that has negated this and has required human reactions because there's just too much noise for a computer to get through. Makes sense. Just as this is something that has been looked at several times in science fiction, and one of the immediate examples I can think of is the anime mecha Mobile Suit Gundam, where you have these humanoid robots that are conducting raids in space, and that makes absolutely no sense given what we expect from the advancement of technology. And this was a show made in 1979. The way that they went about it is they said that these mobile suits, these robots, were necessary for warfare because the ultra compact fusion reactors that had been invented in their canon, their product, their byproduct, their exhaust, just littered the area with these phantom particles that completely screwed up all radar.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
so yeah, there's plenty of ways as far as the fantasy goes to be able to work in why it is that with all of this technology available to us, even the poorest should be able to have a computer that can lock onto somebody. But in terms of making the game, if you want to retcon it, there's also plenty of noise in these mines, are they not? The whole thing's
Indeed.
made of iron, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that going to play merry hell with your radar or what?
It could. Yeah. Indeed.
You're in I mean, like you're in an iron asteroid or something.
Yeah, right.
Excuse me.
Another thing that they've added, back from harkening back from Descent 3 and things that were added back into Descent 1 and Descent 2 in the source ports, is a typing indicator. You will now see a chat bubble with 3 dots in it whenever someone's typing. So that's a good thing to add. And then the last thing that they added is more of a hardware thing. If you have a Razer device and it supports something called Razer Chroma, it's going to do various different things when you're playing the game. When you're in the menus, apparently it will light up a certain color, and then when you're actually playing, it will light up with the color of your team. And that's that's just silly hardware bling, I like to call it. Best way to put it.
Bling or Farkle?
Yeah, that could work too.
If Farkle is useful, Bling is just stupid.
Yeah. It's kind of useful in that it tells you which team you're on pretty quickly if you're able to see the glow of the device that you're using, either keyboard or mouse. So yeah, there's that. And that does it for the 2506. That, like I said, that is on display now on the Underground. So you have to be a subscriber to the Underground or a beta backer or higher to get access to that. Now, Descent Underground's not the only thing we've got going on. We also have Sub-Level Zero Redux. This is the PlayStation Xbox One port of the game Sub-Level Zero that's slated to be released at the end of this year, fourth quarter. So those guys making big waves with that. They've been at Gamescom this year.
So this game is going to move beyond the Master Race?
It is, sadly.
What's wrong with that? We need to reach the peasants somehow.
And you say that, and the only phrase that comes into my mind is "burninating of the peasants."
Burninating the countryside.
Exactly. They were at Gamescom this year, and they're currently showing the game off at an expo called Insomnia 58. And that's something going on in Europe right now. And they've been getting some really good feedback with the game. A lot of positive reviews of the game at these expos. And it's as it should be. This is a very solid game. And it's going to be published by a company called Merge Games, which is... of course, Mastertronic, of course, bit the dust last year, so they had to find a new publisher to do this. And one of the things that they've said is that this new Sub-Level Zero Redux is going to have new content and some features, including some new unlocks and enemies. I would assume the unlocks would either mean things like ships, maybe new weapon types, maybe new hull types, because there's different types of hulls in the game that do different things. They have more extensive level generation. I don't know what that means, but maybe that means it's a smarter level design instead of just having the prefabricated rooms connected by these long tunnels or just directly connected. Maybe they're doing it. Maybe the rooms themselves are going to be generated differently. So they've got that. They're going to be completely redesigning the campaign, which that piques my interest because from a speedrunner perspective, that's a big deal. That changes the game. So I'm interested in seeing how that's going to happen. And they're saying, and this is not something I'm happy about. They're saying there's going to be some exclusive content for the consoles. That I'm not too happy about. I'm of the opinion that exclusive content is a bad thing for the gamers. It's great for the game devs because exclusive content means you can sign on a deal with PlayStation saying, "Oh, I'm only going to release this part as an exclusive for PlayStation 4 and I'm going to get a bonus for it." That's great because that means that they
Right.
can continue developing and supporting the game. But from a player's perspective, that's terrible. Because now if I want to have that exclusive content, I need to get that console and buy the game a second time for that console, and I'm not going to do that. I don't care how much I love this game; it's not going to happen. So
Which is, it's a feasible market strategy if you have, um, a large title that has a lot of episodes, and it's like, for example, Doom. There was the Doom 64 port was completely unique to the Nintendo 64. But there was plenty of other Doom titles out there. There was, Doom 1, Doom 2 had been ported to the PlayStation, and even believe there was a Super Nintendo port of it. It was a simple enough game engine. And you had the Ultimate Doom, which had a bunch of two professionally made campaigns, and then you had all of the user-created Doom levels and all the stuff going online. Yeah, I don't think too many people were terribly upset at not being able to play Doom 64 on a platform other than the Nintendo 64 for until 10 years when they released all the WADs. But for a small title, compared to major releases, Sub-Level Zero is not a big operation. On one hand, I can understand the money. They're trying to make this game go, and they don't have a subscription arrangement here with this game, correct?
correct.
So, if they're able to get in, like you said, a bit more money, it works very well for the devs, and hopefully, the real hope here is that whatever that they learn developing a whole new set of levels that are unique enough to justify being in this other platform, which is curious in a quote unquote procedurally generated level game.
Randomized permadeath machine. If I don't say
Yes,
that, Zyko's going to be very upset with me.
a randomized permadeath machine. Okay,
RPM.
yeah, I like it, an RPM. So how do you make something that's exclusive content for the PlayStation if it's just a ship or a unique enemy? Not worth getting too upset over. But then again, how do you sell Sony on it? So yeah, I can, as you said, completely understand the developers. I don't think the game's quite big enough with its fan base to justify that. It hasn't snowballed to that effect yet.
I
So
hope it
yeah,
does.
we shall see, and um, hopefully the idea is what they learn while doing this will come back in updates in subtle ways that doesn't violate their contract with Sony for the PC version.
Indeed. So yeah, there's that. They did say that they're going to be backporting a lot of the stuff to the PC, possibly the ships, possibly the unlocks. But I mean, I'm kind of hoping that we don't see. I mean, about the only thing that I would approve of out of this is like, hey, if you buy this for the PlayStation 4, you get this ship hull, or if you buy it for the Xbox, you get this ship hull, and the ship is not overpowered, and you can play through the game with it, but it's not a big deal. It just looks cool, even
Or
though
how
you
about
almost never
this?
see the ship.
How about this? You buy this for the PlayStation, you slap this code into Steam, and you get a gift copy of this game to give to your friend to get hooked on this franchise.
Yeah, a lot of indie games actually do stuff like that. I have not seen Sub-Level Zero do anything like that though.
That
Although,
would be an excellent
yeah,
compromise.
it'd be pretty neat. So you got that, and then um, yeah, that pretty much does it for Sub-Level Zero Redux. It sounds like that's coming along very nicely. Um, and I'm actually hoping to get back into running this game again now that my shoulder's a little better. Um, I actually played a little bit of it earlier this week, and I'm rusty, but I should be getting better at it pretty quickly.
You're not rusty. You're Roncley.
That didn't just happen.
Are
Anyway,
your wires getting hot, Toaster?
um, quite the opposite, actually. We're cooling off here. So we're going to move on to our regular segments here. And we got nothing new on the Rebirth retro status update other than Zyko sending out a very cryptic tweet saying something along the lines of Descent homers are back in Rebirth. Not sure what he means by that, but maybe with the release of 0.60 coming up soon, with the using the Blizzard's definition of soon here, it's done when it's done. Maybe we'll see something good come out of this. I know there's been a lot of noise being made in the retro community about certain features and things like that. Having Rebirth focus on these things could possibly shake up the competitive community, which could be interesting. We'll see what happens. I mean, we don't know until 060 comes out, so there's that. Descent Rangers, of course, their next event is going to be next Saturday, September 3rd, 3 p.m. Eastern. That's noon Pacific. It's called Star Wars S'mores, and somebody called Jedi Luke because I just read for the first time what this actually is. Everything is banned.
What?
Except the smart missile.
What is this?
This is called Star Wars S'mores. It's in the map called Star Wars. It's Descent 2, unfortunately, so he won't play it. But everything is banned except the smart missile. And
are you even able to fire level 1s?
you could probably fire level 1s, but all the weapons are restricted otherwise. So they'll be replaced with like some shields or something like that. So that's going to be this. This is coming up on the 3rd. I have not seen if there's going to be another co-op yet. He says, I think if you've seen the level, I am not sure he'd be as impressed. Coming from Sirius there. So yeah. And that'll do it for the Rangers. Now, we do have DCL stuff, but before we get into that, I'm going to call this the anti-match of the week.
Oh, we don't mention that.
Oh, we're mentioning it.
We're not mentioning this right now.
Oh, we're mentioning it.
I have no problem mentioning it. I just object to it being mentioned right now.
Well, the thing is that I actually kind of wanted to talk about it a little bit.
I'm not interested in speaking on this matter, which I am not entirely certain is or is not what we're discussing.
Well, I think you're pretty sure what we're discussing.
Is this the party to whom I'm speaking?
Huh?
Precisely. So we'll move on with the DCL news here. We've got 200. What? Sorry.
Hold on here, because you lost by 22 earlier this week, or last week.
This is not entirely untrue.
But and it's kind of funny. I wanted to bring this up because we've had situations in the past where we've had a game where a pilot lost 20 to -10, and there were exactly 10 suicides in that game. Which means there were absolutely no kills on the -10 side, and they were doing stuff like just killing themselves, stuff like that. This one, this 20 to -2, actually comes with 24 suicides, which, as far as the DCL is concerned, puts that score at 44 to 22, or basically a 20 to 10 when it comes down to it, which doesn't look as bad. But I think we may disagree on this here. I still say you lost by 22 to a game to 20. But you have a different take on it. And I did want you to say why you did this and what the reasoning behind it was, because I think it's very interesting and I think it's relevant to the competitive community.
In terms of I lost by 22 in a game to 20, yeah, I agree that I lost by 22 in a game to 20. I believe that as a measure of the game itself, that is the outcome, and that's what matters. The goal at the end, I believe that the score that is up on the board, in terms of interpreting the results of the game, the score is what the game was, and that means I lost by 22 in a game to 20. I believe that in a reflection of the skill of the pilots involved, that then you consider the metric that you put out, which was that this is a game of 44 to 22, which normalizes on the scale of 20 to 10. This was a match against Cyrus in Flea, and I had previously did a pretty good dismantling of Cyrus earlier to the tune of 20 to 12 in logic. But Cyrus has never been accused of being lax or lazy in his studies. Um, he may get a lot of accusations for the way he plays or the how much he cheeses the Vulcan, but I had taken a philosophy during that game, which was to try to rattle him. Um, so any single time that he had hit me with Vulcan for more than 40 shields, and it put me in a critical zone, which was I think the threshold I put for that was 25 shields or less. Then I would suicide. And that's very extreme, and it created the results that you saw. But the matter was that I needed to motivate him to run out of ammo.
Okay.
And by the time we're getting into that level, which is this is effectively a forced, handicapped overtime game. When you get to that level, and you're that much in the red, I think I was down -10 at one point.
Oh man.
It was really bad. So understand that you see -10 could have been the result. I dragged myself back from that, so it was starting to work at the end. But it was anything to drain his very capable ammo conservation, because he had managed to pick up all 10,000 rounds at the start, which was a bad move on me. I like to try to zip the first kill out of the person after they greedily grab all of the ammo. So I will deliberately avoid the Vulcan cannon, but honestly, the best opening strategy against Cyrus is to grab a Vulcan cannon and ammo as much as possible to deprive him of getting all of it in one gobble. But yeah, he had started switching to spread fire and a few other things toward the end there, and that started creating an opening for me. But I just couldn't figure out a way to counter the Vulcan because my primary tactic had been stripped away from me. And that tactic was I'm an assassin. I went to the DKH school. I've studied his demos. I've pored over that DKH versus Mark 39-2 at the land demo for inspiration and understanding how it is that he thinks. And I like to think that I've taken the assassin game beyond what he's been able to do, simply because I've just had more time to work with it. And against very unique opponents. But I'm having a lot of trouble lately against many different opponents because they're studying and learning from me, and they're starting to put the same stuff back at me. And we had an admin watching the game, Jedi Luke, and I'm certain that he could tell me that the number of times that Cyrus was behind me would have made me want to chew glass. He did an astounding job of being everywhere that he wasn't supposed to be, and because of that, my biggest weapon against a heavy Vulcan user is to not be where they're pointing their ship. And if that's stripped from me, then you're going to see such a lopsided result like that, and then it becomes purely a matchup game, and Cyrus matches up very strongly against me. So that's why you have that. The suicides, at that point, it was just, I knew that I had lost the game. I wasn't necessarily giving up, but the idea was that I was willing to keep going into the red for any opportunity to use this hostile environment to figure out a way through. I had to end the game in a positive streak, and I did. I did climb back up from a very deep cellar score, and my goal at that point was to try to get to 0. But the matter is that I was just walloped. And in terms, if I was going for score, I shouldn't have done that, but then I wouldn't have learned what I did.
Now, here's a question for you. If this was a game to 20 deaths, what would have the score been?
If this was a game to 20 deaths, it probably would have been 20-6, maybe even 25, and called for a domination.
Oh, wow.
It took that long for me. I needed the game to go that long for him to get that fatigued and frustrated to start opening up some mistakes. And that's the thing. I believe that certain people are always making the same mistakes. It's just early on in the game when they're fresh. Uh, the timings are tight. The openings aren't there. But as they get exhausted from playing such a long game, I think this went on for 50 minutes. Uh, they start getting a little sloppy. Even if it's just sweat on your fingers going across the keyboard.
Wait a
And
second. 66 kills took 50 minutes? That seems fast.
I don't know how long it was. I just know I had deliberately dragged it into oblivion.
And to be fair, I believe this was in Flea.
Yes, it was in Flea.
Yeah, that's not typically a fast map. I wouldn't consider that.
Well, regardless, the
Yeah.
idea is that it was extended much further than a typical match. But the idea is that with that kind of fatigue from playing that long, and you're going to start showing vulnerabilities that are simply exaggerations of the vulnerabilities that were already there. It's just when you're fresh in a fresh mental state and haven't played for that long, you're able to adjust for those mistakes and you can cover your butt.
Mm-hmm.
But after that much fatigue, you start noticing. He starts. He favors this. He gets a little bit lazy when he's searching for me. He doesn't know where I am. He goes through this pattern. It's just any opportunity to observe somebody under a stress situation so that you can see the mistakes they make in a more exaggerated fashion. So yes, it was very calculated. It was very frustrating. It was very disappointing, but there was no better opportunity that I could devise at the time to learn.
Very interesting. And that's I consider this interesting, like on a number of levels. And just the fact. I mean, you put up a 20 to -2 score, and people are going to take notice of that. That's going to be a focal point, no matter how many suicides there are. And then hearing that explanation it just makes it's there's a story behind that kind of score, and to be able
I can't roll
put that
over
out
and
is
die.
so
I
good.
have to do
Yeah.
something. Yeah, I have to do something that justifies me being cold.
Yeah.
And if I haven't learned something from it, it's not I have to put up a ridiculous number. It's not I have to magically say I have to demonstrate that I tried every single little bit.
Mm-hmm.
No, I realized that my responsibility there was to figure out, even under duress, why this had just happened to me.
Oh,
What on earth happened where I just got hit by this truck named Cyrus?
yep. All right. And with that, I'm going to let you go ahead and take it away with the DCL news.
Alrighty, folks, we have 209 matches over the last 2 weeks here.
Very nice.
And,
That's up from the last couple times we've done this, I think.
what do you mean last couple times? I said it was the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, for the last few episodes we've had, I don't think we've been. I don't even think we were at 209 with the land.
Now I understand you. Quite sorry. Okay, anyhow, we've it looks like the most active category here is gold versus silver for 67 matches, and then gold versus diamond for 57. But we have a lot of individual contributors there. Otherwise, the most variety that we've seen are silver on silver matches, and of course, a very positive showing at the lower end of the ladder. Shout out to the active bronze pilots, keeping things interesting. Let's go into the bronze news for now. We're going to talk about this fellow named Apo, who's been able to stick around with us for the summer. I think he's going to be getting back busy into his senior year of high school, so he won't be as active so much. But it was nice to have him around for a short time here. He's played 2 matches this week. He's 1-1 against bronze, and he's picked up a domination. He's picked up a domination against 20-9 against Lee in Bluebird, which is remarkable on 2 levels, because at least an established player, yes, but Apo does not. Number one, doesn't do well with lag. He's a younger gamer who has a bit of trouble understanding what it's like to play a game that doesn't have a server trying to rectify all of the latency in the game. He expects to hit what he sees on his screen. So playing somebody in the UK is going to be a pretty different experience from his usual gaming repertoire. And second, it's a domination. He's a strong dogfighting pilot for certain, but Bluebird is a very vertical fighting space, and he's done very well with that. Which would mean that he's not relying on his best weapon, which is the Vulcan. So congratulations there to Abel for his dominant performance in the dogfight level Bluebird.
I also think that that's the third reason that is pretty surprising is because he got a return domination from the same ballot. But we'll get to that
Yes. Yes, we will. You'll have to... Yep, there it is. I do have that listed. Okay. Moving on, we have Static playing 2 matches, popping in for a couple matches. He's 1-1 against Bronze this week, and he's got a highlight of 20-17 against Lee in Vamped. Say hello to Lito, too. Typically comes around for the Rangers games, but he's an enthusiastic DCL pilot in Bronze. He's played 7 matches, and he's got a 1-6 against Bronze this week. That win comes 21-19 against Lee in Descent 2.
And we have a lot of overtime matches this week. A lot of them.
Yes, we do. And then we go on to, I think I've called people Mr. Silver before. I think Lee is deserving of Mr. Bronze right now. He's definitely got the attitude that, we can only wish that everybody had the time and enthusiasm on the ladder that he does. So Lee putting in 36 matches this week. He's 8-5 against Bronze with highlight games 20-16 against Lito 2 and Kokoro, 20-17 against Static and Black Rose. He's got a trio of dominations 20-7 against Lito 2 in Super Happy Funland. Sounds like a poorly translated Japanese television show.
Have you played that level?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so basically what that level is it is a ring along the outside with bright white blocks, which makes seeing fusion fun. But if you think seeing along the outside is bad, go to the inside of the level where there is... I can't describe this any more than a multicolored disco wall / floor / ceiling. You may go blind playing this level. It is his home level. It's the level he made. The shell of it is really good, but oh my god, it's terrible on the eyes.
So what you're saying is he built a 6 Degree of Freedom disco. Or is it more of a
great way
rave?
of putting it.
Is it more of a disco or a rave?
I don't know. You'd have to take acid at a rave, and I don't think we can condone that.
Okay, 20-9. Lee's picked up another couple dominations. 20-9 against Lito 2 in Wyndham 1.1, and 20-10 against Apo in Nysa, returning the favor from before. On top of that, Lee has played 2 matches for the Fusion Trophy, and both of them are very curious. He has played Lito 2 20-11 for the trophy, the Fusion Trophy, Bronze Fusion Trophy, in Descent 2.
Mm-hmm.
This is a curious decision because for those who are unaware, the fusion in Descent 2 is nerfed and it provides half the damage that the Descent 1 variant does. I know that I stubbornly continue to use the fusion cannon when playing in Descent 2 matches, and hilarity abounds. But I guess technically, because you have to hit your opponent so many more times, that a Descent 2 match in UG is an entirely valid way to measure, do you earn the Descent 2 trophy? And as mentioned, the additional tactical value of an afterburner would absolutely change how that level works, because with the weaker...
in D2UG?
In D2UG, yes.
Okay.
So at least that was in the match comments.
Ah, okay.
So I was, one of the common, the way that you're supposed to play UG is you're supposed to play it like you wish death upon your opponent and onto the 3rd generation of their family, strife and toil and trouble and may the earth swallow them whole, that kind of thing. You're supposed to camp the spawn with a charged fusion and blast and try to get that one-hit cheese kill.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't do that, you are playing it wrong. And if you get mad at somebody doing it to you, you are playing it wrong, because you don't get the meta of UG. UG is such a simple level that this is what you're supposed to do. In Descent 2, that doesn't exist because you have afterburners in place. Which, if you get a lucky spawn, you could pop up one of those and zip out of there. But also, you have to hold down the charge on the Descent 2 cannon so much more in order to get the same amount of damage. That the one-hit spawn kill is not an element of the game.
Draconis asking in reference to being angry about getting spawn kills. Is that different from how you play normally?
No, not really.
Anyway, continue.
I remember flipping out in a game against Dracona, and I think I was down like 10-2 or 11-2, and I was just yammering and bleeding about the spawn kills. And I don't know whether she said it or Lothar said it or the little voice at the back of my head said it while I was in game, but eventually I turned that around and made it a respectable 16-20. This is recently after I came back to the ladder. But then, it was told to me is that I certainly didn't think that somebody was being mean in that game. I was just mad that cheese worked. And unfortunately, I am particularly susceptible to cheese, whether it's Vulcan cheese, whether it's spread fire cheese. When I say that, I just mean it's
What about queso?
yeah, it's pretty much. Queso? No, Rethink
No?
doesn't give me any trouble. Um, but that when I say cheese, I just mean it's like this is an overly simple tactic. You're uh, putting yourself in a incredibly favorable situation that is absolutely no fun. Um, and how on earth can you respect yourself by not even giving me a chance to tangle and wrestle with you? Well, this is coming from a guy who has adapted the assassin strategy from DKH, which is the epitome of cheese. So what right do I have to complain?
Yep.
So anyhow,
Anyway.
so yeah, Descent to a game. Very interesting there. 22-11 against Leto 2. But the other one, this is we're gonna flip the celebration here, and mention Scion, who's played one match this week, and that is for the Descent 1. The Bronze Fusion Trophy. This was an overtime match. Lee against Scion. Lee came out on top, 26-24 against Scion. What a match! I know that Scion has provided the demo. Sorry, I just got an obnoxious message. I'll tell you later. But yeah, he put up the demo for it, and for somebody who doesn't play very often, I know that Cyan is always putting a lot of work into his gaming project, Geocore, and you take an occasional break out to play, but you're looking at somebody in the West Coast playing somebody in the UK. That's not latency that I would be very envious of.
160 milliseconds, if you're wondering.
Okay, so that's from the Bay Area, you say?
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, that's an incredible showing for somebody who doesn't get to play that often, and was probably a hell of a fusion match there. But congratulations to Lee for coming out on top, 26-24, and current bronze fusion trophy holder. So,
and well deserving of it, as your next mention will tell us.
Yes, moving on to silver matches. Lee has played 16 matches and against silver, and he's actually picked up a threat. That's 15-20 against Ronkley in the fusion level of
Oh no! I still have nightmares when I'm in that level. Thanks, I appreciate it. Thank you,
Love you,
Marfon.
Ronkley. And we'll move on to PP Sky, who's played 5 matches this week. He's 2-2 against Bronze, and that's his usual rival series. But we're going to split it up because there's only 4 games this week. We're not going to do a dedicated PP Sky STF Jeff's segment. But I will mention that he did pick up 2 wins, 20-12 with 5 suicides in Ascend, and 20-14, 3 suicides in Hybrids of Steel against his rival STF Jeff. In addition to that, he's picked up a threatening score against Ronkley, 16-20 in Flea. So good job to PP Sky there.
Now, before we continue, I wanted to point out 2 things. I did also play Lee in Junebug as well. And the Flea game with PP Sky and the Junebug game with Lee both started with me jumping out to an 11-4 lead. And both ended drastically different. With PP Sky really turning it around and Lee just kind of falling off. It was 2 completely different second halves for the 2 pilots. And PP Sky is starting to make a habit of having these second half strong showings. He's not just doing against me, he's doing against SDF Jeff as well. So PP Sky really starting to get threatening, and it's good to see him taking the better of the series this week. Don't see that very often. Normally, it's one-sided.
Yes. Let's see here. We got to move on to Skywarp, who's played one match. He's 1-0 against Bronze, but he's picked up a domination, 20-10 against Lito 2 in Pillbox. Seeing a lot of Pillbox play lately. Some very comical that I didn't have the opportunity to zip through. Perhaps you can find the Pillbox games that I'm talking about, Ronkley.
I'll check them out.
All right, guys. You'll want to look at a couple of them. I believe they were played against Lee and Jedi Luke, so I want to go find those pair. I'll move on. We've got Big Rat playing 2 matches this week, but none against Bronze. He did pick up a threatening score against Silver Pilot P-Funk. That's 17-20 against P-Funk in Athena. And we
I
hit up.
found them. I found
You
them.
found them?
I found them.
All right. What do you got?
I'm now embarrassed because Lee officially has more kills in DCL in one match on Jedi Luke than I have in 3. He's beaten him 20-5 twice. Jedi Luke's beaten Lee 20-5 twice in Mega Pillbox X4.
But what was the circumstances?
I have no idea.
Why don't you take a poke at some of those match comments? Dig in there.
Tell me comments up. I'll go find them.
Dig in there and find the match comments. I think you'll find something amusing. We'll go on to SDF Jeff, who's played 7 matches this week, and I believe we're going to mention. We're going to mention 5 of them. He's 4-2 against Bronze and is currently sitting in the top Bronze spot, having gotten it the hard way. He's
it wasn't very hard, let me tell you.
Well, you were in a place where you could be beat. So, okay, we've got scores of 22-20 with, an overtime game, 22-20 with 6 suicides against rival PP Sky in Ascend, and has also picked up a 2016 win against PP Sky in Tantrum. In addition to that, he's picked up a couple of dominations, 20-8 against Lee in Tantrum, and 20-9 against Lee in Octave Pro for the Disorientation Trophy. And on top of that, for the silver matches he's played this week, he's picked up a dark horse, 20-14 against Ronckley in Antarctic, giving him the top bronze spot. So excellent job there to SDF Jeff.
And to be fair, he gave me 3 levels to choose from, and I think one of them was Mind Tricks. And I was thinking, as much as I like Mind Tricks, I like Antarctic, even though I'm bad in it. And that was a mistake.
My condolences.
Yes. I did find the
comment.
comment. It says, if you say you don't have time to play a DCL match because you only have 10 minutes, you are right. You don't have time for one DCL match. You have time for 2. They did 2 matches in 7 minutes.
2 matches in Mega Pillbox.
In 7 minutes.
In 7 minutes, so...
I'll believe it. I've played in there before.
I mean, that would be an unofficial record, I believe. So... and also, we're going to mention Swarthy on the bronze list because he's only played 1 silver match. That's right, Swarthy managed to finish out his promotion challenge. He is promoted to silver. He's played 3 matches in the past 2 weeks. And of note would be the 17-20 game against B2AF in Lurk, which was the last match he needed to play for his promotion challenge. And he finished with a +6, so welcome, Swarthy.
Wait. You just spoiled something.
What did I spoil? Oh, well, yeah, technically.
But anyway.
Well, regardless. I don't fucking care. You can censor that out later. Whatever. He finishes with +6, and Swarthy, congratulations, welcome to silver, and hopefully you'll bring all of those wonderful comics that you make with you.
Yes.
Which we do really have to feature on the show sometime. He's got some comic gold in there. We'll move on to silver. We've got 5 pilots that we'd like to mention this week. We've got P-Funk playing 11 matches, 5 of those versus gold. He's 1-1 against silver pilots. And of note, I believe this was an X4 trophy match, Ronkley?
Mm-hmm.
And that's 20-5 against... 20-15. I am very sorry. I did not mean to disrespect you. 20-15 against Ronkley in Wrath, which, as our viewers will recall, Wrath is by nature is an X4 level, having more than enough missiles to qualify for the X4. Precisely enough. Designed from the keel up to have enough. Why people play Wrath X5 and X4 is beyond me. We've got Lady Silver putting in 26 matches, 22 of those against Gold Pilots, or a Gold Pilot, is 1-2 against Silver this week, including a domination 20-10 against Ronclay in Mind Tricks. But the
What have you
real...
done to her? She has gotten so much better.
She's learned the snake. That's the problem.
The snake.
She's learned the snake. And that's really... there's a small bit of obsession on my part here that I need to put her back in her place regarding Take-Two. She's always been a thorn in my side in Take-Two.
Mm-hmm.
And she's put up a series of very good score here. She's picked up 6 threatening scores against a particular Gold Pilot whose name shall be unmentioned.
Dumpster fire? Who's that?
That's definitely a dumpster fire, that's for certain. And then we got 15 to 20 with 3 suicides in Take-Two. These 3 are in Take-Two, by the way. 15 to 20 with 3 suicides, 18 to 20 with 6 suicides, and 18 to 20 with no suicides. In addition to that, there's a 19 to 21 with 4 suicides in Logic, 18 to 20 with 2 suicides in Crimson, and probably the most astounding is 19 to 21 with 12 suicides in Salute.
Ah, that's close.
That is 33 to 31, I think it worked out to be.
Now, Mr. Dumpster Fire, where did those 12 suicides come from?
I believe most of them came from me, and I did manage to drag myself out of, I believe it was a 7-point deficit at game point.
Ooh.
I don't know if I could sit on this volcano much longer. That's one of the reasons why I changed my name to Dumpster Fire. Is I am just handing out eggs this week, laying them. Sorry, this cat is adorable.
Cats make everything better.
I guess until they knock your crap over. But yeah, I'm in Take-Two in particular. I know what it is that Lady Silver is doing. I just don't know when and where she is doing it. And because of that, what has been the real big exposure playing Lady Silver and playing Cyrus these past 2 weeks is that when I don't know where my opponent is, my scanning patterns are very predictable. You know, when I'm doing search and destroy, where's my opponent? I'm actually playing a reactive game, and a skilled Gold Pilot will recognize that and adjust the game so that they are being proactive or they are attempting to control the match, even though they don't know precisely where their opponent is. So, but that's the answer to the success there. A lot of stressful moments to try to bring those back into contention. And this is all, of course, my connection has settled down. I'm on my crappy connection, but at least I have a static setup so I can get used to it. I'm also alternating back and forth between joystick and mouse. Mm-hmm. So those are just some contributions there. But nonetheless, that kind of consistent set of results in the same level across different connections, across different setups, tells me that my opponent is doing something very correct. And so all those games should be regarded as exemplary performances by Lady Silver.
Very nice.
We move on to Melvin with 27 matches, 19 of those matches against Gold, and he's 2-0 against Silver, including overtime win 22-20 against Vaniac and Fused, and 20-18 against Vaniac and Crimson. He's picked up a couple threatening scores against Gold Pilots, 16-20 against Morph and Take-Two, and 19-21 overtime with 4 suicides against Cyrus and Take-Two, and has also picked up a dark horse, 20-18 against Cyrus and Crimson. I also hear that Melvin...
I want to point out that 20-18 was his first match against Cyrus this week. He then played 16 consecutive matches against Cyrus, or no, 15, and lost them all. So Cyrus really, and some of them embarrassing too.
None of them actually met the threshold. And remember, this is technically a gold versus silver matchup. Now we have additional news regarding Melvin for next week.
Do we want to spoil it?
Oh heck with it! It's here. Melvin is going to be the best silver pilot in perpetuity. Having been shown the ropes by Deimos.
Yes.
You have the score for that?
It was played in Vamped, and it was 20-14 with 3 suicides, so that is technically a 20 to 15. But the target score for Melvin in that game was to win in overtime. So that is a -6. So he closes out his challenge coming up 7 points short.
Very unfortunate, but with the performance that Melvin has been putting out, surely we'll see him back soon enough. Until then, I know that pilots like Morph and Cyrus are going to be pulling their hair out as he continues to rack up the dark horses. I'm also going to need you to pull up the B2AF page because
Absolutely.
it completely got past me here. I thought that he had already finished this out, but I have him listed here for most of these 2 weeks as a
And
silver.
I have a new name for him.
What do you have?
Tenacious B.
I can get behind this. Yes.
Yes. In fact,
He's
I have put that forth as a potential mid-season props for him. So
I see. We have 17 matches here.
17. That's an interesting number.
You'll
Go
have
on.
to help. Why is 17 an interesting number?
Because 17 is the amount he came out ahead in his silver promotion challenge.
Ah.
Yes.
Well, why don't you go ahead and tidy that up and explain why it is we're putting B2AF under silver this week?
Because he scored a 21 to 19 win over Lady Silver Infused, giving him a +6. Hit his target score against Lothar Bot at 20 to 11. He lost 3 points against Vaniac, 20 to 11. He needed 14 there, but he was supposed to lose to P-Funk in overtime. He destroyed him with a domination 20 to 10. And put up
That was in Flea.
That was in Flea, yes. And P-Funk's no slouch in Flea. And then putting up a 24 to 22 overtime win with 5 suicides against Melvin when he was only supposed to score 12. He did double that. So 2 +7s, and that's usually a good sign that you're going to win your challenge.
Right, and that's part of the 3-3 record against Silver I've compiled here. That match against Melvin was in Mind Tricks, and on top of that, he picked up a 20 to 5 win over Maniac and Flea, if I'm reading this correct. Don't know if that was a win or a loss. Regardless, excellent play there. He's also picked up a domination, 20 to 5 against Lee in D2 Flea. Remember, Silver needs to hold a bronze pilot to 5 points or less in order to pick up that domination. So, congratulations to making Silver B2AF. And then we move on to Mr. Silver, Vaniac, playing a whopping 41 matches this week, 17 versus Gold. He's 5-3 versus Silver, 2015 against Lady Silver in Salute, 2015 with 4 suicides against B2AF in Salute, and 20-18 against Lady Silver in Crimson. On top of that, he's picked up a domination, 20-10 against newcomer B2AF in Antarctic. He's picked up a bronze domination, 20-5 against Lee, also in Antarctic. And he's also been making a mess of Gold. This includes a number of threatening scores, 16-20 against Zero in Vamped, 15-20 against Zero in Antarctic, 25-27 with 4 suicides against Morph in his home level of RIP.
Wow, that is a long match. Wait, whose home level? That's not your home level, is it?
That is my home
your
level.
Home level? Okay.
Mm-hmm. It's also Cyrus's home level, but Cyrus's home level sucks. He's picked up 19-21 against Morph and Audacity, 16-20 against 16-20 against Cyrus and Vamped, and 17-20 against Morph in EO, OO, UO,
EO, UO, and sometimes.
And on top of that, he's also picked up a pretty significant dark horse, and this is going to feed into our next segment. 20-11 against Morph in Antarctic.
I guess you could say that Vaniac is pretty strong in Antarctic.
Yeah, he's definitely
because he's gotten, with the exception of Diamond, he's gotten something out of every category. He's got a domination over bronze, a domination over silver, a threat against gold, and a dark horse against gold. In the same level.
And understand that is almost on the threshold for a gold-on-gold domination, 20-11. If he had held 20-10, that would have been a dark horse domination. Mm-hmm. Which I think we've handed out before.
Yes.
I'm not certain.
Yes, we have.
Anyhow, so Vaniac putting on a clinic this week, and that's going to take us to gold. And right at the bottom of gold here, as far as active pilots go, is a dumpster. Is a dumpster fire.
Is it more
And
fun?
I am the dumpster fire. Morph has played 37 matches this week, and there's only one worth noting in a positive light for Morph.
2. I'd say 2.
I guess, but the 20 to 12 game against Cyrus doesn't meet threshold.
But I mean, it's still a win. A win is a win.
Well, it's a win. So I'm like 1 and what, 4, 1 and 6
After that
against
flea
full
game,
pilot?
it probably feels like 1 and 6.
Yeah, really. I think that counts for 3 losses.
It was about 3 games.
But the only positive note for the dumpster fire this week is a 16 to 20 threatening score against Diamond Pilot Jedi Luke in Lurk. This is arguably a skewed result because Lurk is probably my strongest level.
Did you take advantage of the newly found bug in Lurk?
I did not, because it's not newly found. Melvin and I and Cyrus and I had known about that for quite some time. We thought it was pretty well known otherwise,
not at
so
all.
we
Just
just
found
know to
about
stay
it.
away from that corner.
Yeah, for those that don't know, there's a bug in Lurk. There you have the main dogfight room, and then if you go underneath the little ledge there's another smaller room. And if you stay against the wall that's adjacent to the big dogfight room, sometimes your ship can poke through and you can get hit by weapons. It's a flaw in the level design that we're looking into potentially fixing by moving out the wall like half a unit.
So, regardless, it's kind of like it's playing me in my best level, and I demonstrated that it was my best level. That's how I interpret those results.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, I am in a dumpster fire this week. I don't believe that I have any external stresses that are contributing to a poor performance. I
School.
do
Sorry, something in my
not.
throat.
No, I don't think that's really contributing. When I play a game, uh, uh, it's not necessarily giving up. It's just I was discussing this matter with a few pilots. It's that my style of play is becoming old hat. If I play outside of my standard set of opponents, Melvin, Cyrus, Lady Silver, and to an extent P Funk, but he plays so bizarre. Vaniac. If I play outside that group, I do enormously well. But when I'm playing within these pilots that I've played dozens of games against, um, I don't have any more tricks in the bag. And I don't have enough tricks. The idea is to build up your tool set so that it's not that you may know every little trick that your opponent does, you just don't know when they're going to do it. And for whatever reason, several pilots have found significant vulnerabilities and patterns in the way that I play. It's almost like they can always bank on expecting the unexpected, and now it's no longer unexpected. And so what you're going to see over the next few weeks, you're going to see a lot of very unusual and embarrassing scores. You're going to see, I think you're going to see a lot of whiplash between very close games and games where I get blown out of the water and games where I blow someone else out of the water. As I'm trying to find not a new equilibrium, but new ways to play, new things to put into my toolbox, and I think I'm starting to find a few more as I've gotten more comfortable with my ganglion cyst going away here, with using the joystick for combat, just regaining the confidence to be able to battle with somebody up close, and instead of using the sneak to try to stay behind somebody and take them out and giving them the opportunity to react to, because they're constantly checking their rear view playing me, but instead just use the opportunity to pounce immediately and just create havoc, because I'll be able to engage them in that arrangement aggressively, even if I'm not perfectly behind them or above them.
Right.
So I I'm listed as a dumpster fire, but it's not that I'm giving up. But there's definitely going to need to be an evolution if I'm going to be competitive at this level. So that's all I got to say about the dumpster fire, which is far more than is deserving. We're going to move on to Sirius, who's played 7 matches this week, and he's gotten a couple threatening scores against Jedi Luke this week. At 16-20 in Lurk X2 and 15-20 in Crimson. And other than that, Gold's been a pretty quiet place. Dracona's stopped in for 5 matches. Always nice to see her around. She played Jedi Luke and P Funk, and those scores didn't meet threshold. I see Zero has stopped in for 11 matches. He's top Gold right now. He's played only 2 against Gold, 1-1. And one of those is the one that got him the top Gold spot is a 20-16 game against Cyrus and Mind Tricks. He's also picked up a domination 20-5 against Lady Silver and Flea. And now I'm going to go into like these really, really long lists because we're going to talk about Mr. Gold here, Cyrus. 82 matches.
How many?
82. 82. Only 209 matches were played this week. And
40% of them were Cyrus.
Yeah. 40% of them involve Cyrus. He's 6-2 against Gold in these last 2 weeks. He's picked up games 22-20 against Zero and Flea, 20-16 against Sirius and Crimson. He's picked up dominations 20-10, 28 against Morph in Lurk and Athena, and I have this as domination crossed out humiliation 20 to -2. 20 to -2 with 24 suicides against Morph and Flea.
I think we established earlier on in the show that not necessarily humiliation.
No, it's the final score is 20 to -2. That's humiliation.
Okay.
Plain and simple. Even if my objective there was simply to learn and just keep mining the suicides until I learned something. I think that people can understand where I'm coming from, but plain and simple, I'm a Gold pilot. I'm not supposed to let another Gold pilot hold me to less than 10. So, but the real talk this week is the 46 matches against Jedi Luke. And we have a very long list here because Cyrus has been putting up some pretty impressive scores here. Got a whole number of threatening scores. You've got 15-20 in Athena, 16-20 in Fleece, 17-20 in Crimson. I don't know. This list is so damn big. 19-21 in Ascend, 15-20 Flea X2, 19-21 Crimson X2, 15-20 Athena, 15-20 Flea, 15-20 Salute, 15-20 Lurk X2, 18-20 Crimson, 16-20 Flea X2, 15-20 Ascend. I think you get the point.
Yes. 13 diamond threats against Jedi Luke.
And then
46 matches.
And then 3 Dark Horses. That's 2018 in Mind Tricks X2, 20-18 in Athena, and 20-13 with 4 suicides in Crimson X2. So Cyrus has received compliments from 2 very hostile rivals, both Melvin and Morph, expressing that, we don't know where he found this extra gear, but we just got trashed.
Yeah.
And, though it's not... does he cheese Vulcan? Yeah, but there's also something else added to the way that he's playing, and it's coming from all the games that he's playing against Jedi Luke and the good games he's playing against Jedi Luke. He's taking very valuable things from those games and applying those effortlessly to his other opponents. Mm-hmm. And it shows to where, I can't even be mad if your Vulcan is godlike because you could have used any weapon in that situation and trashed me.
Yep.
So, definitely... Sorry?
Before you move on to Diamond, I have a question for you.
What's that?
Did you enjoy saying the word domination on the last show?
I did, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to repeat that.
You
adventure
could.
Here. I could, but I'm not going to. But we do have a very long list here, and I'm going to read out every excruciating score. Just because I need to get back at Cyrus somehow. Mm-hmm. We're going to move on to Diamond here. We have no activity out of the number 1 pilot, Mark 39-2, but we've got 79 matches out of Jedi Luke. He's picked up...
before we move on, I think he usually does play less during school season, right? Mark?
Yes. Mark is a school teacher. He's school's back in session. If it's not already, then he's ramping back up, getting ready for studies, and so he's not been around. Anyway, we're gonna tie up this segment of the show here. We're gonna take a look at what Jedi Luke has done here, and that means a long list of dominations. So let's just pull out the pencil here to do a little bit of pencil whip as I go down this list here. We got
79 matches. Whew.
79 matches, and how many here are going to be dominations? Okay, what we need is a domination counter. Instead of saying domination, we need a big white letter every single time I say it. But anyway, we got bronze dominations. Bronze dominations means for gold and diamond pilots, they have the same qualification for domination. You have to blank a bronze pilot, and it does not matter for domination. It does not matter how many suicides it takes, though we will mention them. So that's 20-0 against Lee in Wrath X4 with 1 suicide, and 20-0 against Lee in Ascend X4.
The first one's Fused X2.
Oh, I thought it was Wrath X4. Whatever. And those are the dominations against bronze. And let me tell you, I don't care whether you're incredible at Descent or not. It is very, very difficult to go 20 kills and to hold any pilot scoreless.
All it takes is one smart missile around the corner that you don't see with 0 time to react to it, and there's your shutout. It's gone.
And one blob.
It's hard to do.
One blob. It's 35 shields. You know, you splash damage from near misses. You know, it's an incredible feat to hold any pilot scoreless, particularly pilots that by number of matches I would regard Lee as seasoned. So we move on to the silver dominations. 20-5 against Vaniac in Ascend X4?
2.
X2. I had X3 and I couldn't guess which way I had made the error. 20-2 against B2AF and Logic X2. 20-2 against Vaniac in Lark X2. That's 2 suicides on that one. 20-4 against Vaniac in Salute. So I have trouble wrapping my head around holding Vaniac to 5.
Yeah. Let alone 2.
Precisely. And then probably my favorite part of the show here. I'm just kidding. I'm actually on Team Cyrus now. Would you believe that?
What? Just on last show, you were trashing him like the entire show.
Then the way that he beat me, not in that flea game, but in subsequent games, including in Lurk, I'm on Team Cyrus.
I'm disappointed.
You are welcome to be. We need a little bit of strife on this show to keep you honest.
Cyrus, you still suck. Just saying. Go on.
But regardless, the only way that we can celebrate anything that Cyrus is doing is we recognize the talent that he's playing against. Sorry, I'm just kind of savoring this moment because even if I'm on Team Cyrus, this is still pretty fucking impressive what I'm about to read.
No kidding.
We got Jedi Luke dominations over Cyrus 20-10 with 13 suicides in Crimson. 20-8 in Logic X2, 20-6 in Ascend X2, 20-9 with 7 suicides in Crimson X2, 20-8 in Wrath X4, 20-7 in Wrath X2, 20-9 in Logic X2, 20-10 in Ascend X2, 20-9 in Ascend, 20-9 in Crimson X2, 20-5 in Mind Tricks, 20-7 in Ascend X2. So, yeah, I mean, we put the dominations in there because we couldn't find a real way to celebrate how the elite to the ladder were performing. This is why we do the dominations, folks. Mm-hmm. In addition to that, believe it or not, with Jedi Luke playing 79 matches, he's managed to play someone other than Cyrus. He's picked up dominations 20-9 against Dracona in Wrath, 20-8 against Dracona in Logic, 20-3 against Sirius in Wrath X4. And then a couple of very interesting games, 20-7 with 16 suicides against Sirius and Athena.
16 suicides? Which side was that on?
I didn't investigate.
Because that seems more of a Jedi Luke thing?
Given the temperament of Sirius, I would wager that that's a Jedi Luke thing.
That would be my guess. We could be wrong.
Unless they were just doing a lot of battle near that reactor.
So, Sirius says, I barely remember playing it.
And of particular celebration here is the 20-0 with 7 suicides against Morph and Vamped. That is blanking a gold pilot. And I'm pretty certain that I'd have to dig into the records, but I think that Jedi Luke's the only one who's actually done that.
And that's not the first time he's done that.
And understand that that's also doing that in a core level, not something obnoxious or one-off. Yeah, we're not looking at doing this
Yeah,
in June.
this wasn't Ascend X4. This is when he
No,
did it last year.
this was vanilla vamped.
Yeah, this is just plain old vamped.
So, uh, impressive performances and activity out of the clearly the two top active pilots on the ladder right now, with Mark 39-2 not being able to put in matches there. Jedi Luke and Cyrus are definitely pumping a lot of activity in the ladder, and we look forward to seeing how this rivalry continues to develop, because there's plenty of close scores on one side and plenty of dominations on the other. Very interested to see how that changes, and how the two pilots adapt to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to do it for DCL news. I've been a bit lengthy this week, but
Boy, has it.
anyway, that's where we're at, and we'll toss it back your way. I'm tired of talking.
And we have a little bit of action on the Descent 3 ladder. Birdseye picking up another win, moving to 5-0. He's at a 1605 elo. Lady Silver also picking up a win. She's 3-0. And she's at 1575. I would love to see a Birdseye Lady Silver D3 match. Just saying. I think that would be pretty good. Both of those matches were against Lee, who unfortunately is falling to 0-10 this week. And he's got a low elo. I'm not sure how low, because it doesn't show me somebody who hasn't won a game yet. So, but I'm actually thinking of starting to poke my head around on that ladder. We'll see very soon what we can do. So that does it for the D3 ladder. What was your match of the week? The thing is that with the match of the week, I usually want to highlight something that has a demo. And every match that looked interesting to me did not have a demo. Guys, demos, please. What would you think? What would you put it at? It was really hard for me to pick one, because there's so many good matches.
Well, because I haven't seen the matches and I haven't been able to talk with too many people this week, I would have to put up that 19-21 threatening score of Lady Silver against me, with 12 suicides and salute. The comeback that I performed there was it was very impressive.
That was on my list. That was on my list of ones that I would have thought of highlighting. And it shows two things. First of all, that Lady Silver is on the cusp of getting her first gold Dark Horse. And two, the tenacity that you have to make a comeback like that. That's what sets gold pilots above the silver pilots, even if they are dumpster fires.
I will say that the trouble that I've had is that even though I'm supposed to be a gold tier pilot here, I've just not been able to put out gold tier performances for 100% of the game. But I definitely am feeling in several of my games that I'm doing gold tier performances in the second half. I've always been a second half player, but that is really starting to burn me. I really got to start playing smarter.
Indeed. All right, and that's gonna about do it for this week.
But I mean, you also have 25-27,
Yeah,
Vaniac against me in overtime. I mean, it's just there's a lot of crazy matches this week.
Absolutely, yeah.
Don't know what to highlight, but that's that. Considering that the Salute game had an enormous comeback, that's the one I would nominate.
All right, and that's gonna just about do it this week. Yeah, I think that's it. So let's go ahead and go close out.
Well, hey, I don't have the script in front of me, so I'm just going to try to do it from memory. Ladies and gentlemen, any questions, concerns, comments, or confessions, feel free to contact us at a whole number of cool different things that we may have. Do we still have our website, selfdestructsequence.org?
I believe we do.
We have our email links there, correct? That's what is it? Email at
selfdestructsequence.org.
Plural, emails at selfdestructsequence.org. You can check us out on Twitch at SDS Podcast, Twitter at SDS_podcast. Oh shoot!
It should all be on the thing here. Have you forgotten?
Yeah, I have forgotten it. I'm not logged in to see it because I was just rushing in to see this crap. So maybe you could do this for a change, and I can make fun of you of how you do it.
So if you have any comments, questions, or whatever, send us emails at selfdestructsequence.org. Note if you want your name read, or if you want to be anonymous and be a coward. Also, on Facebook and Twitch, we are SDS Podcast, and at Twitter, we are SDS_activated. And
All right,
finish
folks,
Bud
thank
does it.
you very much for listening to this. This is, episode 31 here of the Self-Destruct sequence. This is Morphod.
And I'm Ronkley.
And why don't we just put that beautiful music you made and just get out of here before I embarrass myself? Because I do not like these reversed roles.
Absolutely, guys. We'll see you next time.